The latest engagement between President William Samoei Ruto and the Generation Z has rocked the nation, and it has grabbed headlines, forming the subject and object of discussion not only in the country but internationally. As they went to the streets to protest against what many experts felt was just a trigger, the Finance Bill 2024, while there was more than meet the eye, because later they told William Ruto that they really were protesting against wastage, corruption, and quite a lot in the government. And as they used social media platforms to mobilize themselves, and they went to the streets and the police killed them, and they told William Ruto, we won't be cowed. And William Ruto succumbed to pressure and said, if it is the Finance Bill 2024 that you don't want, then I succumb. And William Ruto suspended this Finance Bill 2024. But many feel that William Ruto is a cunning politician. He wants things to cool down. He wants the momentum to subside. Then he will use other means to reintroduce this. But then, ladies and gentlemen, did you know that the current generation that went on the street did not start today? About 9-10 years ago, William Ruto engaged in a tough war with them when many of them were in primary school. You won't believe that. Apparently, Weston Hotel is largely associated with William Samoei Ruto. And the hotel had grabbed part of a school land, Olympic Primary School. That was supposed to be a playing ground. And they erected a gate. Apparently, some people were saying that they were constructing a parking lot, and they had grabbed part of that land that belonged to the school. And that generation then, when they were in primary, went on rampage, went on riot, and they told William Ruto, wewe ni mwizi. The police did not spare them. They were tear gassed. Some of them were crying. As little as they were, some of them were in class 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I want to show you this video that I think has gone viral, where the police was using live tear gas on very young children. And it seems they have unfinished business with the president. And that is why today some of them are in college, because 9 years to date, let's say if someone was in class 8, that person is either in university, college, or they have completed. Some of them are working. They have an unfinished business. Kindly take a look at this picture that was taken 10 years ago.
Police officers jumped out of the gate, lobbing tear gas canisters at the children. Two students were injured in the stampede.
Ruto, you are tear gassing your children, your own children, the future of this country.
Shame.
It's a shame.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to picture that boy who is saying Ruto ni mwizi. Those two boys. How old do you think they were when they were protesting against the police and against William Ruto? Who told them? Because William Ruto was not there, but Weston Hotel had grabbed or attempted to grab their land. Who told them, as young as they were, that that hotel belonged to Ruto or was being associated with William Ruto? Who told them? Where were the teachers as the Pupils decided that we now want to organize ourselves and we want to go to the streets and we want to tell the whole world that there is a hotel that is grabbing part of our land? Where were the teachers? And don't you think this was organized by the teachers themselves, who are also very tired, but they didn't want to be seen? How old do you think those children were? And as they grew up knowing very well that it was Ruto, according to them, who unleashed the police to tear gas us when we were in primary school, what was going on in their mind? Because at primary level, these children who was supposed to look at William Ruto as a father figure, as an epitome of good conduct and honesty, and as just a deputy president, they had, instead of looking at William Ruto with those qualities, they were associating with William Ruto with corruption, land grabbing. I mean, you can imagine that at primary level, they had associated William Ruto with all these vices in the society. And I'm wondering, when they were being taught even in class that maybe the qualities of a good leader, integrity and all that, and some of them are sitting there knowing very well that we were tear gassed by the police who tear gassed us as we were, trying to defend our rights, to defend our school. Then they move to high school, and they continue to be mature of age and physique. Then later, 10 years down the line, the same Ruto who was a deputy president and now a president, the same Ruto who used them during the campaigns and told them, young men, I want to form a government that will be looking into your affairs. They realized that the same man we had associated with corruption and land grabbing and dishonesty and integrity has now come and is now listening to the IMF, is now listening to the American superpowers, is now a puppet, and is imposing taxes on us, despite the fact that we talked and we told him in no very uncertain terms that we don't want this. And they say, dawa ya Ruto ni haki yetu, because that is exactly what they did. Going to the street knowing very well, this man unleashed the police on us 10 years ago, as young as we were. So we better go now when we can inhale that tear gas. That young girl who was crying there, how old do you think she is? And in fact, I'm beginning to think that the most of those people who are very stubborn on the street, the Gen Z, are the ones who are affected, if not directly, but indirectly. And there's a way they looked at William Ruto and they associated with the qualities of a very, very bad leader. And this tells you, ladies and gentlemen, that they began some business, an unfinished business that they must complete. I can assure you, because they started it. The Hakietu thing started 10 years ago. They were very young. Now, I'm telling you, they have to complete this. William Ruto, in his entire political career, has never met a challenge like the one he faced from the Gen Z. He's used to protests that he can associate to some tribe, he can associate to some party, he can associate to some political figures. He will go there and say, these are Raila's people. They have been paid. They've been paid by Uhuru Kenyatta. These are the ODM goons and all that. This time round, he faced a challenge where people went on the streets, did not have any weapons. They were carrying placards, they were carrying our national flags, and their only mistake was that they were saying Ruto must go. And they engaged him so much that he had to, listen to them. He dropped the finance bill and is now put up some austerity measures. Not even putting up, these are things that he has talked about every now and then. Now, the Gen Zs have resisted William Ruto. All the ploys that he was trying, the cunning tactics, they have rejected Charlene Ruto. When Charlene met some fake youth leaders from the 47 counties, they told William Ruto, it's okay. That is yours and Charlene Ruto. We don't care. And we don't recognize those people because we do not have leaders. We are all equal partners in this. We are only united by the fact that we are suffering together. So they rejected. Because Ruto wanted to show that since he had invited them for a dialogue, they had accepted, and therefore they were now quiet and they were satisfied with the Ruto's kind of dialogue invitation. They also rejected the physical dialogue in State House. William Ruto took some people there, and they went there under the guise of representing the Gen Zs, and the Gen Zs said, those are not our people. They are there for their own self-aggrandizement. You cannot associate them with that. They distance themselves from them. And when they invited William Ruto on a space talk, they roasted William Samoei Ruto. They never minced their words. They put it the way it should be. There was no euphemism. And so they have cornered William Ruto. They have been discussed in TZ. There is a member of parliament who really lauded them for standing up for their rights, for ensuring that this government will listen to them. I saw another member of parliament from Ghana who was saying that he was warning his fellow members of parliament that if you're not careful, the young generation of Ghana will emulate what the younger generation in Kenya, have done, and they will deal with you accordingly. So whatever happened in Kenya was being watched worldwide, because sometimes Kenya has got a way of setting precedents. Like when the former Chief Justice Emeritus Maraga David nullified for the first time an election that was largely being manipulated by the powers that be, a sitting president pressurizing Supreme Court to declare him a president. Maraga nullified that election, and the whole world erupted, and they were like, who is this man with the lion's heart? And some judges were being told, be courageous, especially in the African countries where they rule in favor of the powers that be. They were told, can you emulate that Chief Justice? And when Kenya went for, you remember in 2007, when there was a coalition government between Raila and Kibaki, later it was being emulated. I remember between the late president of Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe, and I think that was Morgan Tsvangirai, when there was some rivalry and political rift between them after an election, they shared power, and Raila was invited to go and explain to them how this is happening. So Kenya is being watched by very many countries. So the Gen Zs are being watched, and if they fail on their track, then they shall have failed very many nations. They should take this, they should succeed, they should ensure that their demands are met, so that other generations or other Gen Zs in other countries who will wake up and go on the streets to protest will ensure that they want to achieve what the Kenyan Gen Z achieved. So ladies and gentlemen, we are backing them up. We believe in this Gen Z. We believe that the war, not just a war, but the fight for their rights that they started when they were in primary, when they never let their land to go to unscrupulous, some kind of political influences. That land did not go. They stood for their right. That right must be perpetuated until they achieve what they wanted. And that video really was very funny. Young people telling the deputy president, you wewe ni mwizi. I mean, can Ruto become a role model? I remember in 2022 was telling people that mimi nilikuwa hustler, and now that means now that I'm a deputy president and I'm poised to become a president, it means that you can't be where you wanna be. I know I can be where I want to be. If I work hard on it, I'll be where I want to be. He was telling the people, I was a hustler and now I'm a deputy president. I'll be a president. And this shows you that whether you are living in the slums or you are starting from a humble background, you will rise up. But then he's been tainted. And I know he's innocent until charged guilty. But then you cannot say that all these people, including children, are wrong when they associate with land grabbing and corruption and killings and all that. And I looked at that video and it was really very funny.